What if I told you there's a reason you dream of changing your life, but still find yourself stuck in the same routines? You wake up full of plans, but by night you're scrolling through your feed, wasting hours on distractions that don't even bring real pleasure. And then comes the guilt, as if it's laziness or a flaw in your character. But let me tell you this, it's not laziness, it's self-defense. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But your mind builds this barrier to protect you from what it thinks is dangerous. Failing, being exposed, getting rejected. So you sabotage yourself not because you don't want to move forward, but because you're afraid of what comes with moving forward. The problem isn't your discipline. It's that silent fear wearing the mask of laziness. What I'm about to reveal is almost like a hidden map, a pattern Carl Jung helped uncover about how fear hides in the shadow and traps you in cycles of stagnation. If you're tired of feeling like you've got potential but keep spinning your wheels, this video could be the turning point. Maybe you've lived this, seeing an old college buddy or even a close friend achieving things you know you could be doing. Starting a business, traveling, changing their life. Meanwhile, you're stuck on the same merry-go-round. Lots of planning, little execution. And deep down, you think, that could have been me. But instead of taking action, you freeze. You turn on the TV to clear your head, grab some food, or drown in content that only numbs you. Like every distraction is a cheap anesthetic against the pressure of change. That's not laziness. That's fear in disguise. Jung called this fear the shadow, that hidden part of you working behind the scenes to keep you safe, even if it keeps you stuck. In this video, I'll show you how to spot that disguise, how to see that laziness isn't the real problem, but a secret code revealing your deepest fears. And most importantly, how to turn that code into the very key that breaks the cycle of self-sabotage. Because as long as you keep fighting laziness, you'll always be battling the wrong enemy. Maybe you've already asked yourself, what's wrong with me? Why do I start full of energy but always quit halfway? I know that feeling hurts. You dream big, make plans, even get that rush of excitement at the start. But then something inside you freezes, like a hidden voice whispering, better not go that far. And the worst part? Afterwards, you beat yourself up, call yourself lazy, and shrink under the weight of shame. But let me let you in on a secret. It's not laziness. It's the shadow that grows right alongside your ambition. This shadow is sneaky because it wears masks. Sometimes it shows up as exhaustion, sometimes as perfectionism, and often as that nagging thought, maybe I'm just not good enough. But here's the thing, it only exists because you have power. The shadow doesn't bother people with nothing to accomplish. If it's bugging you this much, it's proof your calling is too big to ignore. That should be a reminder of strength, not weakness. But instead, you keep whipping yourself, thinking discipline is the real problem. Be real with yourself. How many times have you quit not because you couldn't do it, but because you started imagining everything that would change if you actually pulled it off? More responsibilities, more exposure, more people judging you. That fear is real and it's not ridiculous at all. But running from it has a price. You stay stuck in circles, caught between the life you want and the life you're barely tolerating. And at some point, the pain of not trying gets heavier than the fear of trying. I know it stings watching people around you thrive while you feel stuck. It's not jealousy in the ugly sense. It's that sharp little ache of frustration. I've got just as much as they do, so why can't I move forward? That question cuts deep because it hits your identity. It's not only about failing to achieve, it's about feeling like you're betraying yourself. You don't tell anyone because you think no one would get it. But I get it, and Jung got it too. The shadow isn't proof of weakness, it's proof of potential. Now, let me poke you a bit. How long are you going to keep living as the guy who dreams but never acts? How long will you carry that silent label of the one who could have been? Be honest, maybe you're more comfortable with familiar pain than with uncertain growth. So I'll ask you straight, is this shadow really protecting you, or is it robbing you of the life you deserve? The truth is, you don't need to kill that shadow, that's impossible. What you need is to walk with it without letting it grab the wheel. Because if today it paralyzes you, tomorrow it can be the same energy that drives you. And that shift starts the second you stop seeing yourself as a failure and realize that even your fears are proof of your greatness. The only real question is, are you ready to face that now? How many times have you sworn you'd start fresh on Monday, and when Monday finally came, you ended up scrolling your phone for hours? On the surface, it looks like laziness, but Jung teaches us it's actually an inner conflict. Laziness isn't about weak character. It's a clash between what you say you want and what you're actually ready to face. You dream of results, but deep down your unconscious rejects the emotional price tag. The pressure, the judgment, the discomfort of leaving the safe zone. Think about someone who decides to start therapy to know themselves better. They pay for the first session, get excited, and then disappear. Why? It's not a lack of discipline. It's because, in practice, they don't want to sit with the pain of revisiting old wounds and inconvenient truths. The ambition of, I want to be a better person, collides with the real desire of, I'd rather stay numb. That's the invisible tug of war. On one side, the dream. On the other, the refusal to feel the pain that dream demands. Here's a less obvious example: relationships. You say you want something real, a deep connection. But when someone genuine and available shows up, you feel anxious, pull back, make excuses. From the outside, it looks like you're just not interested. Inside, it's the shadow whispering, I want love, but I don't want to deal with the vulnerability of rejection or abandonment. That contradiction freezes you, and then you label yourself lazy even in love, when in reality you're just dodging the pain that comes along with it. Understanding this takes a huge weight off your shoulders, because it's not that you're weak, lazy, or incapable. You're just forcing ambition without aligning desire. That's why so many productivity hacks fail for you. Downloading another task app won't help if deep down you're still afraid of the emotions tied to every goal achieved. The secret isn't more discipline, it's real alignment. Now here's the kicker. Do you truly want what you say you want? Or do you just like the idea of wanting it? Because if it were a real desire, you'd already be moving. Laziness, in that sense, is a disguised teacher. It shows you where you're out of sync with yourself. The question isn't, how do I get more willpower? But, how do I align what I dream with what I'm actually willing to live through? That's the turning point that could change everything. And if this struck a chord with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell us what country you're tuning in from and share the situation where you feel most stuck. Because this space is here to remind you that you're not fighting alone. Every comment is part of a community that gets this silent battle, and together we can start turning ambition into reality. Maybe you've promised yourself you'd change your health habits. You bought workout clothes, signed up for the gym, even looked up diets. The first few days, the excitement was real. But then came an invite to go out, followed by the excuse of being tired, and soon you told yourself, next week I'll start again. That week never comes. The cycle repeats. Inspiration, planning, excitement, distraction, postponement, frustration. It's not weak willpower. It's a hidden fear of what real change will bring. Here's a less obvious example: relationships. You meet someone interesting, you're excited, texting every day. But the moment you realize things might get serious, anxiety kicks in. Suddenly, you take longer to reply, make excuses, start pulling away. Then you catch yourself thinking, why do I always ruin things when they get real? It's not laziness in love. It's fear of what comes with it. Rejection, exposure, the responsibility of being truly seen. This pattern shows up in spirituality too. How many times have you decided to start meditating, reading the Bible, or diving into self-discovery? That first moment feels magical, almost freeing. But soon, trivial distractions pop up. A phone notification, the urge to tidy up, last-minute plans. It's no accident. The shadow would rather keep your mind busy than face the truth silence might reveal. So you postpone transformation and end up right back where you started. The cruelest part is comparison. You see people moving forward, in their bodies, careers, or relationships, and you ask yourself, I want that too, so why can't I? That silent envy stings because it comes with self-criticism. You call yourself lazy, weak, undisciplined. But the truth is different. It's not willpower you lack. It's the courage to face the hidden fears pulling your handbrake. And here's the provocation. Are you really afraid of failing or of succeeding? Because success brings pressure, judgment, responsibility. Sometimes it feels safer to quit early, even if it hurts. Self-sabotage isn't laziness. It's an unconscious way of protecting yourself from a future that scares you. That's why pure motivation doesn't fix it. It just presses the gas while the brakes are still on. The cycle of self-sabotage only starts to break when you realize you're not alone. Everyone's lived this pattern in some area of life, but few talk about it. That's why I want to invite you to hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell me what country you're watching from and in what area of your life you feel most stuck. Because when you share, you realize this fight isn't just yours. And that connection is already one step out of the cycle. Let me hit you with a straight question. Are you afraid of failure or of success and all the changes that come with it? That's an important provocation because most of the time, it's not the fear of falling that paralyzes you. It's the fear of rising. Rising means being seen, being held accountable, being exposed to judgment. It means losing the comfortable excuse of one day it'll work out. The real enemy isn't laziness. It's fear disguised as laziness, so you won't have to confront it. Think about someone who dreams of starting a business. They study, plan, even fantasize about it, but never actually launch. Why? Because opening shop means risking public failure, hearing criticism, carrying the weight of responsibility for customers. It's easier to hide behind procrastination. On the outside, it looks like a lack of discipline. But on the inside, it's the shadow whispering, if you really try, you'll lose your excuses when it doesn't work. That invisible fear is the strongest brake of all. Same thing happens with relationships. You say you want something real, but when someone actually shows up ready to commit, you freeze. Because loving means stripping down emotionally, risking rejection, or worse, being loved in a way that changes your entire life. The fear of losing friends, shifting social circles, being seen as different ways more than you think. So you sabotage yourself before the bond grows too strong. This pattern repeats everywhere. Fear of the responsibility that comes with a promotion, fear of criticism when you share your art, fear of losing the comfort of routine when you start earning more. Every real step forward comes with an emotional price tag. That's when your mind throws on the mask of laziness. You don't feel tired because you lack energy. You feel tired because you're dragging around unresolved fear. Laziness is just the surface. Fear is the root. Here's the catch. As long as you keep believing laziness is the issue, you'll chase the wrong solutions. More discipline, more pressure, more motivation. But none of that works if fear is still in the driver's seat. It's like pouring water on an underground fire. You kill the smoke, but the embers keep burning. The only way out is to stop fighting laziness and start facing the fear it's hiding. So let me leave you with this. What if you're not afraid of failing, but of shining? Because shining means changing, growing, and maybe losing the version of yourself you already know. Laziness, in that sense, is just a comfy disguise to keep things the way they are. Recognizing that is the first step to ripping off the mask and staring the real enemy straight in the eyes. Have you noticed that even not changing comes with little rewards? It's like stagnation shows up with a package of instant comfort. Take this, for example. When you avoid having a serious talk with your partner, the reward is dodging potential fights or rejection. But that silence slowly kills the relationship, creating distance and resentment. The shadow offers temporary peace, but always charges you later in the form of built-up frustration. Here's another case. You say you want to reconnect spiritually, but you keep putting off prayer or meditation. The false reward here is not having to face inner silence. the kind that exposes uncomfortable truths you'd rather keep buried. Your mind prefers the noise of your phone, the TV, any distraction at all. But that noise doesn't fill you. It just delays the restlessness that comes back even stronger at night. The same pattern plays out socially. Pretending you're busy or too tired to meet friends gives you quick relief. No need to explain yourself. No need to deal with comparisons or the feeling you're falling behind. But the bill shows up later as loneliness, exclusion, and that quiet envy of people living the life you secretly wish you had. The price of rest is the heavy weight of feeling disconnected. Even in pleasure, the logic repeats. You postpone big decisions but run to escapes like food, porn, or mindless consumption. That gives you the fake feeling of control. I decide when and how I feel good, but right after comes guilt, self-criticism, and emptiness. The very habit that seems to protect you is the one keeping you stuck in the loop of self-sabotage. That cheap candy always turns into emotional poison. Here's the harsh truth. The shadow never gives you real rest. It only hands out shortcuts with a taste of safety, but they hide a future cost. A false reward shields you from discomfort now, but it steals your chance for transformation. It's like choosing to live in a dark room because no one can judge you there, forgetting it's also the place where you never see your own light. So the question is, how many more times are you going to trade long-term freedom for the illusion of short-term security? Because every stagnant habit is a silent deal. Less pain now in exchange for more pain later. Recognizing that pattern is the start of the shift. But facing the fact that you're paying a high price for fake rewards, that's the step that opens the next chapter of your liberation. Healing from stagnation doesn't mean waking up one day without fear. It means learning how to move forward with fear. The shadow hates movement, so the secret is to trick it with small steps. Want to change your love life? Instead of forcing yourself to find the right person, start with something simple. Spark a genuine conversation. Make eye contact. Say good morning with presence. Small gestures break the paralysis cycle without setting off your fear alarm. The tripod of transformation is still the foundation. The first pillar is knowledge, but I'm not just talking about books or courses. It's learning about yourself, noticing your triggers, your escapes, your hidden desires. When you realize you eat without hunger just to numb loneliness, you've already gained the awareness not to be a prisoner of it. Knowledge means bringing to light what was on autopilot, and that alone weakens part of the shadow. The second pillar is environment. If you're trying to change but you're still surrounded by people who reinforce your fears and vices, you'll be dragged back. Want a real example? Someone trying to quit adult content but spending the day in chats and groups that sexualize everything is digging their own trap. Changing your environment can be as simple as curating your feed or drawing closer to people who are also chasing clarity and authenticity. The third pillar is execution, and this is where the shadow trembles most. Being bad at the beginning. You want to write but freeze up because you think it won't be profound. You want to work out but believe you won't keep up. You want to start a business but imagine everyone judging you. The cure is simple: be bad, but do it anyway. A sloppy workout is better than another week of sitting still. A messy text is better than one more idea locked away. Even great names went through this outside the comfort zone. Think of Thomas Edison. Over 1,000 failed attempts before he finally invented the light bulb. Each failure was treated as a lesson, not a defeat. Edison proved that execution beats perfection, because the one who keeps showing up turns stumbles into stepping stones. The shadow can't withstand the discipline of someone who dares to try again and again until the light finally turns on. The insight is this: healing doesn't happen when you eliminate fear, but when you learn to use it as fuel. Every step, no matter how small, weakens the shadow and proves to yourself you're not its hostage. The question is, what micro-action can you take today, even imperfect, that will already feel lighter tomorrow? Because it's in that tiny detail where the shadow finally loses its grip on you. Deep down, you've already noticed, what holds you back isn't laziness, it's misalignment. That emptiness you feel when you call yourself lazy doesn't come from a lack of discipline, but from carrying desires that don't match your ambition. This inner conflict is what feeds the shadow, making you believe you're failing, when in reality you just haven't found the point of balance. Every frustration you carry doesn't have to be proof of incapacity. It's a signal that there's an adjustment waiting to be made. The fear that disguises itself as laziness isn't an enemy to kill, but a code to crack. Once you see that, every stumble turns into data, not condemnation. And here's the heart of the message. When desire and ambition finally align, you become unstoppable. That's when guilt dissolves, fear loses its grip, and your life starts moving with clarity and purpose. That alignment is the true antidote to self-sabotage. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss reflections like this one. And drop a comment. Tell me which country you're watching from and what usually makes you freeze when it comes to chasing your goals. And before you leave, get ready. What if I showed you the next step to turn that fear into power?